Hi guys, hope you're all well. Me and Oscar are on a little walk, so I thought I'd just do another video, or try to. So a lot of you have been asking me about rituals and open and closing when you're going to work with spirit. So I thought I'd just try and do a little video on that today, on how I open and close, and I can only go on my own experiences, and these videos are my own experience, so some of you might have your own way of doing things, and that's absolutely fine. There is, no real right or wrong way. Again, with a lot of spiritual work, it's more intention. Okay, because I had quite a lot of mixed reviews with my last video on protection, and again, they're not to offend anybody. They are just my own experiences to help you, and just to share things from my perspective, really. Anyway, so opening and closing. So this is something that I do every time before I work with spirit, whether I'm doing a private reading or a demo night, or a tarot party night, or whatever I'm going to do, really. So I would start off with doing, for the opening, 3 deep breaths. Okay, so take those right down through the body, breathe out all the stress and strains of the day, and just feel your body starting to relax. Then once I've done that, I take another deep breath and I send that energy right down to the base of my feet, and then I do a grounding technique. So I just feel roots sort of going down through the base of my feet, down into Mother Earth, and planting themselves down into the crystal kingdom, really. And I visualise a quartz crystal in the centre, and then I just visualise these roots wrapping around, and I just feel anchored. So not only am I grounded, I'm also anchored, which is really important, because a lot of people, they ground themselves and they send their roots down, but they don't always anchor themselves with the crystal kingdom. And if you don't do that, sometimes that's when you feel quite drained after working spiritually, or you might feel quite lightheaded or dizzy afterwards, and it's because you are grounded, but you've taken those roots down in, you haven't anchored. So it's a bit like with a boat, if you chuck the anchor down, but then you're actually unintentionally pulling it back up almost. It's that kind of feeling. So yeah, that's kind of what I start with. And then I just feel that energy starting to build, and I take that energy back up. So I take that energy then back up through the chakra points. So I take it back through to the base chakra, and I just visualise this almost like a spinning wheel. Now, loads of people open their chakras differently. For me, I visualise a spinning wheel of colour, opening in a clockwise motion, just going round to the colour of the chakra. Some people visualise, a lotus flower opening. Others visualise just a colour opening. And someone even suggested to me a while ago that how they work, a really good medium actually, she visualises curtains opening, which I really liked that idea. I thought that was really nice and simple, because with any spiritual work we can overcomplicate it, and it doesn't need to be. So I start off with the base chakra. Imagine the spinning wheel of colour opening, and I really sort of ask for any healing that needs to be sent to that chakra as it's opening to do so. Okay, and then once I feel that energy opening, I move on. Sorry, let me just keep an eye on what he's up to. And then I go to the sacral chakra. Okay, and I do the same thing. I open that up, spinning wheel of colour, and I travel on up through the body, and I open each chakra point. Okay, so then I'll go to the solar plex, the heart. Now, as some of you are working spiritually, you probably just work with the 7 main chakras to begin with. The longer you work with spirit, you'll eventually open the other chakras as you go. So I include the sort of the sacred heart, or the thymus gland, in my work, which is above the heart chakra. I also work a lot with the pineal gland. I also work a lot with the lower sort of chakras, so below the root and below the feet, and again above the crown. But again, probably if you're starting out on your journey, you would just stick to the 7 main ones, and that's absolutely fine. And again, there's no right or wrong time to introduce the other ones in. It's as and when you feel ready. Once I've opened all the chakra points, I just visualise a beautiful golden light sort of shining down in through the crown chakra, lighting up my whole body with pure white light. And I just start to visualise this shining out into the, into the room I'm in, really, and surrounding me. So it almost becomes like a little golden cloak of protection again, really. But it's made up through the chakras of energy. And then once I've done that, it's very important, I sort of do what I suppose an opening prayer, and I ask my spirit guides, my angels, my helpers, my loved ones to draw close and to just work with me. And then I always ask for the highest guide that's working with me at that particular time to draw close, and I just feel their energy. And for me, I know when they're there because I get quite a sick feeling or a pulling on my throat. Occasionally I feel hands on my shoulders, but for me that's a sign I know my guides are there. They're ready to pass on, whatever the client needs. Okay, and I also ask for any healing to be sent to the room, the room that I'm working in, very important. And then once I've got my intention and everything, then, it's really like I'm ready to work with spirit, and I just ask for spirit to keep, pure energy connections. So I only want the purest of energy to work with me, nothing negative can enter. And I also ask, I sort of ask for spirit to leave it in with their care and keeping, really, because at the end of the day, they're the ones that are passing on this information. So that's really my ritual, if you like, or my opening and closing of the chakra procedure. Again, it's pretty straightforward, and you'll find the more that you do it and you work with it, it will just become a habit, like with a lot of these techniques and these things. And then once I've worked and I've done the spiritual work that I need to do, I basically repeat the process. So I would say thank you to my spirit guides, my angels, my helpers for working with me and passing on messages in love, light and truth. And then I would almost, ask them to slowly step back, and while I sort of close my chakra points down, and the same as before, but instead of turning them clockwise, if you're using the spinning wheel technique, I would close them anti-clockwise. So I would then reverse the process, close the crown chakra down, but once it's closed, I would visualize a golden ball of light in its place, just so the healing can continue whilst I close all the chakra points down. And I work again down through the body. So I would then do the same thing with the third eye chakra, closing that down with a ball of golden light in its place, on down to the throat, further down to the heart, down to the solar plex, then further on down to the sacral, back down to the base, down through the feet, and the roots that are wrapped around this lovely crystal, I would untwine the roots, allow that energy to come back up. So I'm almost pulling up the anchor, if you imagine a boat being chucked down and pulling that back up. Okay, and then I just sit in that energy, and I visualize all these sort of these golden balls that have replaced where the chakras were open. I just imagine them filling with pure white light and almost cleansing my whole body, just to make sure that I haven't taken on anything that the client may have left behind. And again, it's almost like a clearing of energy, I suppose. And that's really my ritual for closing, and I do this every single time. No, we're not going in there, come on, hey, this way. Sorry, just talking to Oscar. He has a habit of going where he wants, which is fine, but we're on a sort of little track at the moment. Okay, so that's kind of, I do that every time, whether I'm doing a demo night or if I'm doing private readings or whatever I'm doing spiritually, because there are people that say you don't need to do that every time, and if you're in the energy you should be able to just do it on your own. You shouldn't need to do anything like that, really, and that's fine if that works for you, and it's not about not trusting spirit. I trust spirit completely. For me, it is a ritual and it's a routine I've got accustomed to and used to, and it works. So for me, it's acknowledgement of the spirit guides and angels and helpers as well, not just my own working that I do, but it's acknowledging them, because they also are the link, the voice box between working with the client who's in front of me. So, that's how I work. I know that everybody does it slightly differently. There are other ways you can do it, but I'm going from my own perspective. So yeah, it's really straightforward. So just when you hear sort of about chakras and things, people think, oh my god, they get themselves quite scared and quite worked up. But if you keep it simple, it is quite a simple process, and it becomes easier the more that you do it. So that's really my ritual for opening and closing before and after when working with spirit. And I'm trying to think if there's anything else I can add to that really, and not, there isn't much, to be honest. It's quite a basic video, this one. It's quite straightforward. But when you're opening each chakra point, really just stop and feel that energy, because you should feel those energy points actually opening. And if you can't feel them, just spend a little longer there really before you move on to the next one, because it is important that you visualize that properly. It just keeps the flow of energy moving. And I always envision the tree of life. So if you imagine yourself as the tree of life, being connected to Mother Earth's energy, but also spiritually above, and it's almost like this whole sort of you know, continual circle of energy going around through you. And if you can feel and imagine that, it makes it so much easier. But yeah, I hope you enjoyed this short little video, and yeah, till next time, take care guys, and have a magical day.